Hey guys, so welcome back to my series on Makai Kingdom. I've got some really bad news. Earlier today, I did a take of today's episode, but afterward, I went back and watched it, and I realized that for some reason there was no audio. My mic had not picked up any of it. Uh, I still have the video, but it's got no audio. And unfortunately, afterward, before I realized this fact, I deleted the save file. So I can't do another take. What I can do, this is what I've decided to do. What I can do is run play the video file on my computer and just screen capture it and like provide commentary over it. It's not perfect. I apologize for this. I really wish this hadn't happened. But this is the best solution I can come up with. Otherwise, I would have to like install video editing software or something. But then if I open Pandora's box of like editing videos, it's going to make me like want to think about it more, like write a script and all that kind of stuff. I really don't want to do that. I like that this series has been one takes, um, and that practically everything that I've done has been recorded. Um, that's the way that I want to continue going. So this is the best I can do. So bear with me. I'm going to try to recreate as close as I can my commentary, but I only did it once and it was half an hour and I was improvising it, so it's definitely not it's not going to be perfect, but let's get into it anyway. So here in the beginning, why don't I skip ahead? I was okay. So here I'm talking about food, and I've said this before. I wish I had explained food previously, but I'll go ahead and do it now. Food are restorative items in Makai Kingdom, but they are also something much more important. They are also a consumable that you can use to give yourself an experience multiplier. And that multiplier goes up to times 10 for times 10 per unit. Uh, the interesting thing is that if you're uh, when you do when one unit dispatches another unit, when one unit kills another unit, uh, the experience multiplier of both the attacker and the target are multiplied in order to produce sort of the final multiplier. And like I said, the cap is times 10 for an individual unit, but for both units, it is times 50. Um, and the way that the way it's calculated is you see that these different uh, food items have a different score in tech. That number represents the multiplier that gets added when that food is consumed. So, for example, this corn soup, it's got a 20 tech. That means that when it's eaten, that's a plus 20% to your experience multiplier. So you'll go from um, no bonus multiplier, you'll go from normal experience, 100%. Uh, Eat this, it goes up to 120. So that's a 20%, one-fifth increase in experience. Um, the exception to that is when the food item is administered by a chef. If a chef is the one using the food item, feeding it to another character or to himself, if it's a chef administering it, then the bonus is doubled. So this corn soup, which is usually only plus 20%, becomes plus 40. So you definitely want to be using your chefs if you have them to administer food and dole out those big experience bonuses. When we did 4-5 the first time in order to gain some quick experience, at that point we didn't have access to chefs, and I didn't want to invest the time into grinding to unlock chefs because I thought it'd be more time efficient to unlock them using free dungeons like we did. So at that point we used thieves just because. But if you've got chef, you definitely want to prefer that. So now, we've got a variety of items here, of food items. Um, the ones that you will mainly use in Makai Kingdom are will have a tech value between 10 and 120. That's because those are the 12 items that can randomly spawn when you invite a food market. Carrots have a tech value of 10, and it goes all the way up by 10 to 120, which is meat stew. And it's like carrot, corn soup, pumpkin, veggie soup, corn omelet. apple, stuffed omelet, bread, curry, ration, and then meat stew. You see ration here is 110. It comes right before meat stew. Meat stew is 120. And it's just 10, 20, 30, etc. Carrots being 10 and meat stew being 120. That's the tech values of those 12 items. Those are the 12 food items that can spawn from food markets, and that's mostly what you're going to be using because they're easily farmable. Um, if you happen to have food that has stars, if it's a starred item, each star increases the value of that food by 20%. If you happen to find a crown, so if you happen to find a crown, which is 5 stars, it'll be double. So like this ration, for example, would go up from uh, 110 to 220, and that would mean that if a chef were to feed it to somebody, they would get plus 440% experience. So they'd be at 540 if they don't have any other bonuses. So food experience multipliers are a big part of power leveling in Makai Kingdom. So you want to understand how they work. You want to understand how to farm food. You want to understand how to administer food. You want to understand all that, and hopefully I've given you an adequate explanation there, and now you get it. So there's that. So let me skip forward. Now, what else was I doing in this video? I actually don't really remember. Oh yeah, so this is the point where I'm going to make a couple of chefs. Um, Now, like I just said, chefs are the best class for serving food. So, and that makes sense, right? So we're going to make a couple of chefs. What we're going to be doing in today's video is pretty exciting. I'm really disappointed that the take turned out like this, where I have to like give commentary over it instead of doing it live, because I was kind of excited while I was doing this, and now all that's lost. Uh, but that's okay. Such is life. But so yeah, we're making a couple of chefs here, and I'm going to be equipping them with the food that we farmed in last episode. Last episode, if you remember, we farmed a little over 600 tech worth of food. Now that's what you want. That is enough food to efficiently feed to distribute it between an attacker and a target in order to achieve that maximum times 50 experience multiplier. That's what we're going for. That's the reason we worked so hard to unlock Chef. That's the reason we farmed that food, and now that is our plan moving forward. So why don't I skip forward a little bit? Skip forward here. Okay, yeah, so now I'm just equipping the most efficient way to do it actually, if assuming that you're using these even, multiple of 10 um, common food items with no stars, and you will be most of the time, but assuming you're using those, the most efficient way to achieve that times 50 multiplier is to feed between the attacker and the target. You're going to feed one of them 300 tech worth of food, and you see right there, this is 300 tech worth of food. 90 plus 110 plus 30 plus 70 is 300. You're going to feed one of them 300. You're going to feed the other one 310. 310. That's the cheapest, most efficient way to hit that times 50 cap on your experience gain. That's exactly what we want. That's why we're equipping exactly that amount of food. So why don't we move on a little bit? Let's see. What did I do next? Okay, so next I'm setting up some important stuff. We are about to head over to Happy Dungeon 1. In previous episodes, we've done Happy Dungeon 2 and 3. Happy Dungeons are always available. 1, 2, and 3 are always available every time you start a new game cycle. They kind of refresh every time you do a new game cycle, but then once you've done them, they will not reappear again until the next cycle. So you definitely want to have saved Happy Dungeon 1 up to this point, because we're about to do something really, really interesting and cool and useful here. And I think that Happy Dungeon 1 is a great place to do it. So very shortly we're going to be. So what I've done so far is I equipped 3 of our thieves, the high level ones. I made sure that they were equipped with UFOs, because we are going to need to steal. We're going to need to have access to that crane catcher skill while we're in Happy Dungeon 1. So you definitely want a couple of, at least one. at least one decently leveled thief capable of stealing. And then the other thing you want, you see, we just equipped that syringe. We got that in one of the free dungeons that we did. Now, the thing about that syringe, I've demonstrated in previous videos that you can find those equipped on enemies in, what do you call it, stage 3-3. As long as Pram is the one who wished for that netherworld, and she should be, you can find apple enemies there, and they can be equipped with those syringes, and you can steal those. So at this point, if you don't have a syringe, that's a way that you can get one, and you definitely want one for what we're about to do. We just equipped it on our sword master, and I can't, I don't remember seeing if we did this or not. I think right now I was explaining something else. But okay, yeah. So we've equipped the syringe, and next we're going to be equipping a bomb. That's the other important thing that you want to equip. You want a syringe and a bomb on whichever character you're wanting to level. Um, and then we're also going to equip, kind of for convenience, this technically isn't 100% necessary, but I recommend it. We're also going to equip a gun, a musket, a rifle, whatever you call it. And with all of that in place, I think that means that we're ready to head to the dungeon. So yeah, so here I save beforehand. I wish I hadn't deleted this save. Yeah, that 5 minute and 15, the 5 hour and 15 minute save file. I wish I hadn't deleted that, but that's okay. And here we go. We're going to start Happy Dungeon 1. All right. So looking at Happy Dungeon 1, it's a lot like Happy Dungeon 2 and 3. We've got a group of 4 owl enemies over at the far end of the stage, and they are you'll see that they're much lower level than in the other ones. The tier 2 enemy, kind of, yeah, this one right here is level 5. The others are only level 3, so they're much lower level than the other two. And interesting thing, none of them have any weapons. In Happy Dungeon 3, all four of the enemies will have hammers equipped. In Happy Dungeon 2, only one of them did. That's the hammer that we stole last episode. But in this one, all four of the enemies here don't have any weapons at all. And that's one of the reasons this stage is great for our purposes. So what I'm doing here is I'm just repositioning the book using one of my thieves. Um, and I'm going to proceed to invite the other thieves to, um, and pretty soon we're going to start doing something really interesting. Um, so yeah, once we get both of these thieves out, I'll start explaining what I'm talking about. I'm going to have this guy lift this enemy and throw him out of out of bounds. I think this is the first time we've thrown an enemy out of bounds. I've been throwing my own units out of bounds sometimes for tactical reasons, but I think this might be the first time we've thrown an enemy out of bounds, and I'll show you why. You'll see why very quickly. So this level 3 enemy, those other two tier 1 enemies are also level 3. The other one's level 5. You see, level 5. The one we're holding is level 3. And I think at this point I'm explaining. Yeah, okay. So now you see that this one, the Carlisle has gone from 3 to 6. That's because when you throw an enemy out of bounds, they no longer exist, but their level is randomly divided up and added to the levels of any remaining enemies on stage. So there's a trade-off for it. You can't just get rid of your enemies for free. If you try to do that, the ones remaining will get stronger. That's an interesting mechanic in Makai Kingdom, and we are going to be exploiting that for our own ends in this video. So yeah, I think I'm just explaining that now. Yeah, and I'm going to have my second thief throw this enemy off stage as well. And I didn't want to risk him bouncing off of anything, so I moved him a little bit. And then we're going to invite our chef. And he's going to throw that third enemy off the stage. So there were a total of 14 levels between all of those enemies. So now that we've thrown all of them except one out of bounds, like we're about to do, Now that that's happened, the remaining should be level 14. 3 plus 3 plus 3 plus 5 is 14. And at some point, I probably will scroll over. Maybe I won't. Yeah, there you go, 14. You see? So that's the way the mechanic works. So what we're going to do next is very interesting. Um, this is kind of a neat little trick. We brought that syringe. What we're going to do is have our sword master throw that syringe into the hands of that remaining enemy. And the reason we're going to do that is because syringe weapons, their first skill restores HP. It is not an offensive skill. It's a healing skill. And now that we've thrown that into the enemy's hands, we have effectively neutered him. He can't do damage to us anymore. If he tries, he'll heal us. The AI is not smart enough to have him throw that syringe away. The AI isn't smart enough to do that. So effectively, we have eliminated all of the danger that remains in this stage. It's now completely safe. Um, and now we can do whatever we want here. And we're about to do something really interesting. But that's kind of a clever idea. I actually I think that's an original idea. I don't think I read that you can do that anywhere, but it's definitely a way to make what we're about to do extremely safe, extremely reliable. It might not be the fastest way, but I recommend doing it this way. You can try to do it a quicker way if you want, but this method isn't that much slower than optimal. So doing it this way is not a bad idea. So anyway, we've just invited the first of our three facilities. Remember last episode we wished for some facilities because we wanted three whose levels added up to a total of precisely 85. And now I'll explain to you why. So we invited that facility and we allowed the enemy to invade it. And the enemy conquered it instantly because we didn't have any units of our own in there to challenge him. That facility, because it's been conquered, it now counts as an enemy facility. And the significant thing about that is that now we can throw it out of bounds. And just like throwing enemy units out of bounds, the level of that facility will be added to any remaining enemies on the field. And because there's only one enemy left, that means that this level 21 hut, when we throw it out of bounds, the enemy, that one remaining enemy, his level will go up by 21. The problem is that we need him to come out of that facility, but his AI will not do that. So we have to use Crane Catcher like we just did to force him out of that facility so that we can throw it out of bounds. And that's precisely what we just did. So now we're going to have another character lift and throw that facility out of bounds. And 21 plus 14 is 35. So you should see that once this hut is thrown out of bounds, Jacquard there, his level is going to go up from 14 to 35. Let's take a look. Yep, you see? Now, our two remaining facilities are levels 29 and 35, I believe. Yep. And we already did the math. We know that that is going to add up to precisely 99 when we're done. And that is significant. Um, that is significant, and I'll explain to you right now why that's significant. In Makai Kingdom, and also in other Nippon Ichi strategy RPG games, level 99 enemies, because of the specifics of the experience formula, level 99 enemies give an abnormally high amount of experience. They give significantly, significantly more experience than a level 100 or a level 98 enemy. Level 99 is a very special level in the experience formula. So we are going to exploit that along with the times 50 experience multiplier that we're going to get from the food that we brought to the level, in addition to using the bomb to inflict gamble status, so that even though this enemy, they're going to be level 99, they're going to be higher level than we are. We are going to be able to dispatch them regardless of their stats and completely safely, since we've neutralized any threat they might pose by throwing that syringe into their hands. So there's only one way there's only one way we can th- this conflict is going to end. We're going to win. It's completely safe. Um, so I'm just going to use Crane Catcher one more time to lift him up out of that final hut. We throw the hut out of bounds. He hits level 99, and then it's just a matter of inflicting gamble, landing that 50-50 death blow. Oh yeah, and before that, we're going to be using the food, of course, to achieve that times 50 experience multiplier. But yeah, I'm really fond of this whole setup. I think this is a really good way to launch yourself to level 100 really early on, really quickly. Uh, there we go. So we've thrown the final hut out of bounds. Yeah, exactly level 99. That's what we want. So now it's just a matter of having our sword master move the bomb into her weapon slot and start spamming bomb attack until we see gamble status. Now, at this point, I feel like I've explained everything that's going to happen here pretty well. I don't really think there's any need for me to, let's see, why don't I skip forward a bit? Yeah, because it took a while for me to land gamble. And I also decided that I wanted to move everybody over to the left so that I could pick up the items. Because why not? At the very least, I really wanted the Gensi Tonic and the Diver. And you see here, that's exactly what happened. Um, and I guess one thing I will explain. Okay, there we go. So at this point, we've inflicted gamble status. And I'll show you now. The reason why I brought that gun, the musket, is because the that owl enemy actually has higher move than our sword master, and it can be kind of annoying if he moves out of range of bomb attack or fist of fury. So bringing a ranged weapon helps. You don't have to chase him around as much. And yeah, we got our 50-50 killing blow on the first try. That's great. Let's head back to so we head back to the hub and let's take a look at the fruits of our labors. Yeah, I guess I'm explaining something. Status, yeah. So we shot up from level was 61 to 128. We more than doubled our level. And yeah, I just want to remind you here, we're less than 6 hours in, and we've achieved some really, really important milestones in Makai Kingdom. We've got our first level 100 character. That's important, and I'll explain why in the next episode. We've got Chef unlocked. That's important for farming food so that you can get those crazy times 50 experience bonuses. Um, uh, yeah, we have achieved a huge amount in relatively short order. And one of the things I love about Makai Kingdom is that you can do that. And I really feel like this video series has demonstrated that beyond any doubt. And I love that practically everything I've done has been on video. Uh, I'm really pleased with the way things have gone in this save file and the way these videos have turned out. Um, and yeah, next episode we're going to do even more cool stuff. Um, so you'll definitely want to tune in. Again, I am sorry that this video turned out this way with me having to like do commentary over a video with no audio. That sucks. I really it's pretty disappointing that take my microphone wasn't recording that take for some reason. But hopefully I achieved everything that I wanted to achieve this episode as far as like explaining things and really hopefully everything makes sense to everybody so far. Um, we're actually really close to probably the end of this series. Um, so next episode, I'll explain a little more about the way I think about the end game, like what I consider end game to be, what you have to accomplish in order to get there, and so yeah, you'll definitely want to tune in. Um, thanks for watching. Again, sorry this video turned out so differently from the others. Um, hopefully you'll keep tuning in anyway. So thanks for watching. See you next time. Goodbye.